Hello and welcome to SoMuchGame with episode 0.5 of Winter in Aris. If you joined us previously for the world building using the Worlds Without Numbers system with myself and Nye, you may be familiar with Aris as you might have seen us construct it. If so, this is the promised game. However, before we get started, I would just like to point out that there were a few technical issues recording it, so there might be some sound issues where you pick up a little bit of echo in the background and occasionally a baby crying. Most of these should be resolved by the next episode. There's also a couple of jumps here and there where we had little breaks in the video. Other than that, I hope you enjoy, and I'll let you get on with the show.
SoMuchGame. Today we're starting a new wee little series of D&D that I'm playing with lots of good friends. And this is kind of session 0.5 because we're going to do a little bit of character stuff, but thankfully the players know how to play D&D and they've made their characters, so we don't have to do that stuff. And we'll be introducing how they know each other and kind of who they are as people, and then about 20-30 minutes in, we'll start the adventure and we'll be off. Okay, do we want to go? Yeah, we'll go from left to right then.
Are we introducing characters as well to start with?
Just
as in names?
Introduce you and your character, but you don't worry about elaborating because we'll do that in the connections and things like that because you guys don't know the world as well, or some of you don't, so we'll go with that as well.
I have no idea what's going on. Hello, I'm Lewis, and I will be playing Ivelios Duroche, who is a Furbolg fighter.
Hello. God, if you don't know me by now, you have no idea what you're letting yourself in for. I'm Aldun. I will be playing Ignatius Fireborn Lightbringer, Tiefling Cleric. Cause why the hell not?
Exactly.
Nah.
Leon, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Leon, and I'm playing Renard Arventus, a rock gnome rogue swashbuckler.
And I know, but I started laughing at the castanet sound effect, and I was trying to like pass it off nonchalantly, like I can do this. I'm professional. And I'm like, yeah. So I do apologize. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Vivi is fine as well, by the way. That's what Lewis's side of the family usually calls me. So, my name is Avril Hunt. I'm a half orc, and I am. What am I? A wizard?
Yep.
I'm a wizard.
You're a wizard.
Wizard.
Yeah.
Now we have to edit that out.
Yeah.
I mean that's copyright infringement right there. That's
Is it though?
There's so many people called Harry.
Yeah, come on.
Could be
They might
any
be
Harry.
wizards.
Yeah,
You're a
exactly.
wizard, Avril.
Is it not like music where you can use, as long as you use less than 8 bars, it's not infringement? So as long as we use less than 8 words, we're
Yeah.
not.
Well,
Is that how it works?
if we take the vowels out, so if it's just then that
You're a
yeah,
wizard.
it'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay.
We're getting some great stuff. I mean,
Yeah. So I will
Uh,
I will introduce the area that you'll all be starting in. I actually, Lewis, didn't tell you this. I'll unveil the surprise. I'm going to make a map of just a small area, not the whole thing, because that would be terrifying. But yes. So I will describe the starting area and then kind of give you some ideas, and then we can do a bit of character connections and things like that. And then we can start off. So you are in the rural region of Drus. Drus is a panhandle that has been created between the republic that you are part of, which is called Aris, and the nation of Onya. Now, without getting too much into it, because I always think that with world building, simple is best. Onya gave Aris this area as very fertile farmland as a way to snub one of Aris's rivals, which had upset Onya. So classic political maneuvering. Now, Drus can be split into kind of 4 regions. There is the swamp to its south, which is also where the border between Onya and Aris is, and that's quite transparently there to go, hey, we gave you this land, but we don't want you visiting. Just have it and leave us very much alone. There is the grassland, which has been converted into fertile farmland. And then there is a coastline, which is another physical barrier. This is the place where a lot of trade is enacted, and there is somewhat akin to becoming a kind of criminal underbelly, but that's still in its infancy. It's not gone full, cloak and dagger business yet. And finally, there is a forested area. And again, without getting too much into it, forests hold a lot of magical power and significance to this world in general due to the relationship between that and magic. Now, there are 4 settlements spread between these 4 regions, and for context, they are no more than a day's ride away from each other. Drus is not very big. Most of its land is not land you would be traveling for any real means. As I said, there's a large forest, there's the swamp, so most of the settlements are relatively close to one another. Again, I'm not going to go deep dive into them because you're going to be exploring them, but there is Favor, which is the one closest to Aris relatively, so it's the furthest away, and it is the capital, if you will. It's where the people of Aris moved into when the land was given to them. There is Pain, which is a peat farm quarry. I can't remember. We've said quarry, but I feel that's the wrong word when you're collecting peat. But that is
dig
the
it up.
upper. That's true.
yeah, it's not really quarrying.
Quarry.
No,
No.
yeah. The notes, the notes are not perfect, but that's okay. It is the second major resource that comes out of Drus, with farm and agricultural crops being the main one. Then there is Marn, which is your typical farming town, and then there's Penk, which is the port town. In terms of the kind of general vibe, it's quite peaceful. So, for those who don't know, it is called the Republic of Aris or something along those lines because they just had a revolution only a couple years ago. Now, the deal that gained how Aris gained Drus, kind of got disrupted by this, and now the transaction has occurred. And as the years have gone by, things have kind of been stable because obviously this land was not blighted by the upheaval that was caused by the revolution. in terms of kind of nationalities and stuff, broadly speaking, there are two. There are the people from Aris who came in as colonists. Now they've not been there long enough to have like their own generations, so most are first generation. That's the word. But the majority of people here are onions. Now Arisians. And interesting enough, they're not too upset about this, mostly. Most of them recognize that nothing's changed dramatically. Flags have changed. They have a new governor. Mostly happy. However, there are some fringes that are a bit heaved, let's say, particularly those that were once of high standing, now are, well, they're effectively country bumpkins now to the nobility external of them, because they're, exactly. Yeah, exactly. There we go. In terms of kind of what adventuring types like yourselves would be dealing with, the forest has a charming habit of spewing up the occasional rogue monster, which always needs to be thwarted. And as I said, there's a little bit of a criminal underbelly emerging. If you're not a hero and perhaps are more of an anti-hero, well, there's that lovely criminal underbelly that's developing where you can do lots of fun things. Not piracy yet, but who knows? I know I was shocked as well, but I thought no, they wouldn't immediately jump to piracy. That would be a bit too obvious.
Smuggling.
Yeah, smuggling, the usual kind of stuff. Yeah. It would be a bit noticeable if they gave them the land and immediately pirates appear. It's like, oh well, gosh darn.
What?
But that's the long and short of it. Where would people like to be from? I think we'll go from right to left this time. So, Vivi, where do you think? And I need to remember everyone's name because I'm a bad GM. Where do you think?
Avril.
Avril. Where do you think? I was about to call. Yeah, never mind. Where do you think Avril would be from? Oh,
well, I think he works in a library, so
okay.
anywhere that has a decent library. So I'm guessing the capital, probably.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So that would be Faver, Faver. Yeah, the interesting thing there is that it was initially it was all I mean, they're all pre-existing settlements, but this is the oldest. So there's kind of an interesting fusion between the art and things like that. But yeah, that makes sense. Would you have always been working within the library system, or is this a newer job that you've taken up, or is it like my my father was a librarian?
Dad was an orc, so at age 18, I ran away to be with my love books.
Oh, okay. That's lovely. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. And Drus would be the perfect place to run away to, a fresh new beginning in exciting times. Unless, of course, you live there, then this is just like super boring. Regular. God. It's okay, don't worry about it. I've got to get in the habit of calling people by their character names, not them. But I'm just going to say now, Leon. Where do you think?
Bernard.
Yes.
French Fox. That's where I got it from.
Yeah, no, I know. I promise I'll try to remember. Okay, where do you think Reynard would kind of be? Where's their kind of area?
I reckon Renard grew up in Pink, probably from the more farmy area, but went to coastal town early on and grew up there, which is why he's a bit of a mischief maker and knows a few scallywags.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's as we talked about
Ragamuffins.
yeah,
that he grew up with.
there's exactly there is smuggling and lots of new ventures. With this exchange, a lot of criminals also flocked to the area because it was seen as kind of a new start, if you will, especially as with the upheaval that was going on in main Aris. A lot of people didn't want to really be, caught by all the soldiers that were milling around, so just a quick nip down. So yes, lots and lots of criminal opportunities to be
So there's
found. Yes,
criminal potential in times of upheaval.
exactly. That's exactly it. Then it is.
Hello. Yes, Ignatius Fiber and Lightbringer. Orphan tiefling cleric brought up by lovely, kind people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who found him abandoned in a peat field.
Oh no. The worst place to be abandoned.
Just left out in the peat cuttings.
Oh
Just
dear.
little. I've decided he's got like shamu horns.
Oh, okay.
Because all tieflings
Very
have
cool.
fabulous horns, and it's always fun to decide which horns they get. But I was thinking,
Exactly. Yeah.
for a bit more of a European flavour, we go with the shamu.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, whatever the peat town was, I think is.
That would be Pain.
Spelling pain.
Paen. There's
So
probably a
Payen?
night. Yeah, I know. There's probably nicer ways to say these, but I'm not good with words. Evidenced
It's
by my.
your world. You call it
I
whatever the
know.
hell you like.
I
Just-
like the fact that the people from Onya are onions.
Yeah, I realize that. This is what happens when you stream world building and you have me coming up with names on the spot. Onya, I guess.
Returned
The
us to our
twin
previous
empires
position,
of
brother.
Chiz and Onya.
Yeah. Fierce opponents of Rudy Stulted. I don't know.
Yeah, slightly peckish at that point.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And what do you? How do you busy yourself in pain?
Oh, Ignatius tends to the injured and the sick, and tries to help people along their life path. And he doesn't proselytize. He's not a cleric in kind of that sense, because I believe religion is a fairly new thing, given the frosts have been.
Yes. Yeah. We'll get into a little bit of that stuff as well. Don't worry. I'll
For
make
so long.
sure.
But
It's
yeah,
okay.
he sort of helps out and counsels people and heals mostly.
Mhm. And that just leaves Lewis's character, who I've also forgotten the name of. It went in one ear out the other. I remembered
Yeah.
Reynard, and I remembered
well,
Avril.
I am playing Evelios du Roche, but you don't have to remember Evelios' name nigh because he is a Furbolg and they don't believe in names. So, he's from the Du Roche area, somewhere in the south of Aris, where he was formerly landed gentry until the revolution happened. And Du Roche Evelios was one of the nobles who sprang on the revolutionary bandwagon to the point where he was exiled by the Montague government, who were less fans of all the revolution, and became an emigre who has since returned with the expulsion of the Montague government, but is sitting about in Druce because he refuses to go back to the capital of Aris until he's officially pardoned and invited back. And that's why he's sitting about in Druce trying to find things to do.
What's bad is that you just described the world that I basically made, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, whoever made this is super dumb." Oh wait, no. Okay, so yes, that okay. So I'm presuming you'd be in favor as well, since that's kind of the capital hub place.
Yeah.
Presumably, and you're a fancy, well-to-do individual, so
he's less well-to-do than he used to be, but he's sitting there waiting for a letter to say, "Hey, we're gonna pardon you. You can come back."
Exactly.
You're just sulking, is what you're doing there.
It's rich people sulking.
Rich people sulking.
That's some high quality sulking there.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a very, 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 very brief rundown of kind of a little couple of things that we'll need to talk about, and also because it's important to kind of go through some stuff when playing RPGs. So we'll get this one out of the way. So lines and veils, just because that's important, and I think they should be in every game, regardless of the content. Those who know me will be unsurprised to hear that there will not be any sex stuff, there will not be any graphic gore or nudity or any implications of that. And anything else? There was another thing. What was the other thing? Oh, I should remember this. This is the important stuff.
Exploding animals?
I don't want to
Yes,
just start
that-
naming things because I'm afraid I'll look like a monster if I just start naming horrible things.
No. Well,
As long as
it's
they're
important.
horrible things you're adverse to.
Yeah. It's
But you thought of them though.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I don't. I as a general kind of thing, I don't really go for that dark fantasy. Everything is horrible. There will probably be a degree of whimsy. I
want to
don't
guess
really
the other
do.
thing you forgot.
What was the other
Was
thing?
Was it romance?
Yeah, I don't really like. Yeah, that's a good way to frame it. Some
like
people like that.
flirting and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's because you'll be flirting with me, which is not. I mean, I can't imagine that's gonna be a very fun experience. That's just gonna be.
Do that every week.
I wink
That's-
at the barman. The barman goes.
It creeps me out.
I'd
That
like to roll for
does-
charisma, please.
That does feel
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a large part of Odin's character is just going down the drain there.
I'm going to need new character now.
Yeah, it's but it's not something that I.
Hey, how you doing?
It's like
The other.
It's like your horns.
You win. You win automatically. The dragon goes away. The dragon doesn't know how to handle us.
It's so embarrassed the dragon gives up.
That feels like that will be our go-to move.
Yeah.
Hey, nice eyelashes.
The other thing that probably stands out is that you guys probably won't be fighting animals very often. It's something I'm not the biggest fan of in games, and it's not something. So I'm not going to have you like and 8 wolves show up, and I want you to slaughter them because that's fun. But there'll be bad things that you can fight. So don't worry, I'm not just going to have it all be hugs and rainbows. Because D&D. Well,
so you think,
well, apparently we're not allowed to hug.
Are we allowed rainbows? We're allowed rainbows, I think. Not platonic hugging is fine, Lewis. Come on.
Oh, okay. But we're not allowed to hug Nye.
Hugging. But
Yeah,
you need to get consent first.
Yeah.
Very important.
You guys can hug each other as much as you want. I'm just, don't hug any of the NPCs.
What if I want to?
You can.
What if they want to?
For context, I don't have an issue with people being flirty and stuff like that. It is just like I don't. There are some people that put it in their games, and it's not something that I do. But that
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and I say all this just because lines and veils are important. Just I always feel like saying that because I still go into games where people don't do them, and it's like, what are you doing? But we've got them out of the way. So I will give a very kind of brief rundown of kind of themes and ideas, and then we might just jump right in if that's okay, unless anyone wants to make any character connections and stuff. But that is, between you guys. I don't want to micromanage you.
So we've got to recap. We have 2 of you already in the capital.
Yes.
We have the sulking noble.
Who refuses to go to the capital.
Who refuses to go to bed, yes. And then we have I'm loving the idea of a half-orc wizard. That is just wonderful. Who has run away to the library, which is the best kind of running away.
There's a tragic backstory too.
Oh, excellent. Good. I'm pleased to hear it.
We like a tragic backstory.
Yes. So we've got the 2 of you already in the capital. I'm going to try and do names now because I wrote them down. Renard, you are in where now?
Well,
Write that bit down.
I kind
You-
of
you're
grew
in
up
Pink.
in Pink, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to be there right now.
Have you made your way to the coast for some swashbuckling shenanigans?
So Renard kind of was making money during the revolution by pretending to steal works of art, but actually they were forgeries, and then he was selling forgeries to wealthy people in neighboring countries
Yep.
under the pretense that they thought they were getting a steal because they were like, "Oh, the revolution's on, we can now steal these works of art." But they were pretending like, "Oh, we're protecting the works of art for Aris and making sure it's safe." And it's like, yeah, right. So Reynard
I love it.
was most selling them forgeries, basically, and taking advantage of them trying to take advantage of Aris.
With
So
the
he
right
has-
spin, that's almost virtuous.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's lovely.
He fancies
I
himself
love
as kind of the folk hero type.
but I also love the concept that it's also, well, I'm not actually gonna like sneak into a place, like I do my
Oh,
back
hell
out
no.
doing that.
No.
Yeah.
Christ, no.
You don't have any guards there, are you?
Yeah. Scaling walls, climbing
Yeah.
through windows. No. Okay. Well, I
So,
think
yeah.
So there's a
So-
couple of us kind of out in the sticks, and then there's a couple of us in the capital.
but I don't think it'd be unrealistic for you all to meet in the capital or to be in that area to begin with, or in another part, because as I said, the connections between these settlements are quite close, so it wouldn't be.
So, what is, just to help me out? Sorry, this is a little bit selfish. Everyone else in the stream. What is the status of religion at this point? I know
no,
early on
okay.
in character creation, it was kind of, it's not really a thing.
No,
But-
that was my fault. I poorly explained it. And I was kind of wanting to do it here because it is kind of one of the themes. So, yeah. For a very long time before the region had its own version of an enlightenment, the general faith for most of the nations of this continent was a form of animism where they believed specifically in the trees and the mountains and things like that and worshipped them as gods. This was more in a capacity of kind of, hey, we would like a nice harvest, please don't fuck us up. And obviously, since it's a fantasy world, these are real spirits. So think your dryads and your unicorns and these kind of things. However, about 100, 200 years ago, there was kind of this enlightenment. And this was brought on by, in simple terms, basically, when people started working out that they could go to other planes, they went, oh, we'll visit here. Hello. Oh, who's this? Well, this is our god. And they went, oh, and they brought it back. So that's why I'm saying clerics are new to Aris, especially, but new in a historical sense. Like everyone knows what a cleric is. Nobody's, and that's kind of one of the themes, and it's why I tried to frame. I do apologize because I remember on Discord chat I didn't go. It's all about rebirth, and actually the gods that you ended up going with are gods of like light and healing and things like that. Who goes by the name Solace. Their whole thing is the idea that when something gets broken, it becomes reborn. Now you change its properties. That's why they love glass, because it's like, oh, we're turning this horrible thing that sits in your backpack for 10 years into beautiful mosaics of art. And when it breaks, they can reforge it into something else, which is kind of a tenant of that. But for you as a player, it basically means that you are, I mean, it doesn't really change much. A person will identify you as a man of faith, and they'll be okay with that. But the key thing that it removes, and I talked about this with Lewis on the stream, is it removes that kind of weird hybridization that I find in a lot of fantasy worlds, where what they really want is just Christianity, but also a pantheon. And I don't know, it's just we've all seen it, where it's like we all have a church, and it's basically just the church that you know in our world, but there's like 7 gods that all, and I don't know, it's not really something I wanted for this world. So as I said, places of worship for the new deities, which is just what I'm calling them, because again, simplicity is best. They are few and far between. Like the proper big, beautiful cathedrals and stuff. There's probably in the whole of Aris really only one in the capital. So that is the one thing that would be kind of awkward for your faith, is the fact that you kind of have to do a lot of this stuff on your own, and there's not really centers that. But you would find people going about. In terms of how the old and new have integrated, they've done so fairly well, mostly because the nobles realized how useful it would be to not upset one or the other and kind of balance them equally. So many of the common folk practice this old form of, well, it's not old, it's still what they know of animism. But some, like yourself, would also practice that. And some do both and some do none. It's quite fluid. And that kind of brings up some other ideas. So in this world, all of the D&D races are referred to as human. The main reason is because I did not want to come up with a fantasy name for people. So there's that. Now, this does not mean that, an elf and a dwarf would recognize each other as friend. But it's that really uncomfortable, like orcs are orcs and they are completely separate things from humans. You're all humans and you're all people, and your identities are more cultural. So like elves and tieflings and stuff, they have their own, histories and things, but they are the same on a, I guess, societal level as an ordinary human or a dwarf or whatever. And I just say that because, So
it's almost a societal and almost, if I may, a spiritual level.
Yeah.
So there is no distinction at any kind of observable level between whatever you happen to be, whether it's Furbolg or Tiefling or Gnome or Halfling or Half-Orc or anything else. We are all people.
Yeah, and that's how they see it.
That's quite lovely. I love that.
Oh, obviously, there are horrible people, but the key thing that I'm denoting is if somebody doesn't like a dwarf, everyone else in the world goes, "Oh, you must be a bad person because you only hate." Yeah, and there's none of
wrong
this.
with you.
Exactly, and that's and we're not going to explore that here because that's kind of a heavy subject, and I don't think I have the chops to carry it. But for context, yeah, there are bad people like that in the world, but they are obviously bad. There's no ambiguity with that. And the other kind of big thing in that respect, there is not like an elf kingdom or a dwarf kingdom. All of the leaderships and stuff are just mixed. They're still all, elitist nobles, so it doesn't really matter what they are. They're not the Furbolgs like.
It's still a bag of dicks. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's not.
I was all for the revolution.
When everyone turns their pitchforks. Oh,
bravo! Woo,
I might rename my character Evelios Egality if anyone gets the reference.
Solidarity.
Liberté. And that's kind of the long and short of it. And the other, I'm trying to think. The only other big thing I want to talk about, because it pops up in D&D, is how magic works. So the simple answer, because again, simple is ideal when world building, is magic works on this basis. So if you imagine that the world that you're on is a bit like an onion, and there's lots of layers. Pretty much
onion or an onion?
Like ogres. Onion. I know.
Sorry, every time it's Shrek.
I know.
It's just.
I know. I do apologize.
Do you know what else has layers? Parfait. Parfait has layers.
Everybody likes parfait.
Yeah, everyone likes parfait. No one likes onions or ogres.
And
they're people too.
So
ogres,
these,
yeah.
It's okay. It's my fault for making the comparison. These fields, if you will, can be called upon. They're ephemeral. You can't touch them, but they're where your magic comes from. And basically, and this is the technical way of explaining it. What magic is you're saying to the world, no, that tree's supposed to be on fire, and the world goes, oh, it is, right, gotcha, sets it on fire. But then it remembers, wait, no, it's not. You just tricked me, and that's pretty much just to explain Well, yeah,
That's
it's
great. That
explaining-
feels really Pratchett-esque. It's
Yeah,
like
well-
just convince nature that the tree was meant to be on fire.
Exactly,
And it
yeah.
lasts as long as it takes reality to realize, wait a minute, this is
and I like that explanation because it explains all of the mechanical stuff that people will spend hours trying to explain. So it explains duration, spell level. They're all just how long can you convince it and how much energy does it take? Because it is taxing. And
I mean, serious D&D kudos for that, because that also, sorry, this is a very deep nerd hole, but it's one that's bothered me for some time to find an explanation for. So there are some spells that you can do on unattended objects.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just basically do them. If it's an attended object, it then becomes a contested roll. And what you're describing really nicely kind of solved the conundrum of, well, why can I set the door on fire, but I can't set that guy's peg leg on fire?
Yep. And that is the reason, because all people, regardless if they can use magic, have their own kind of perception of how they should be. That's why things like mind control are very difficult to do, because you're basically in a battle of, no, you're supposed to be this way. And they're going, no, I'm not. I'm me.
No.
This is not a thing. It's also, as you've said, why you can't set someone's clothes on fire, because it's them and that's not how they're meant to be. But you can set them on fire because and how trees fit into this is that wood, for whatever reason, and I have not come up with a reason because I'm not doing the metaphysics of the magic of this world, wood is very conductive of this, and it's very good at the in-between. So, for example, as a wizard, that's why you make book, and it's why you have a magic wand, because it does the in-between. And various other classes, it's just a variation on how do you tell the world how it's supposed to be, and then it goes no. So bards are my favorite. Bards sweet talk. That's why they sing or do something. They have to kind of be like, no, yeah, it's meant to be like that. And that's how the magic kind of variations work as well. If anyone has any pressing questions, please, you can ask me now, or we can start. It's up to you. I'm happy. Is there anything that people really would like to know? So we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
We go. Does anyone want to make any connections with each other, or are you all happy to kind of be just strangers who have found themselves?
I still don't have a voice. I think it's going to end up in West Country at this rate.
Right.
I think Ignatius will be helping the peat traders bring the peat into the capital.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's where it would end up before.
You could be a northern thief.
Northern. Right. I did
Geordie.
think
Has he done a Geordie yet?
I can't do Geordie.
A Scouser.
Can't do Scouse either.
Hey, lads,
there's only so many I can maintain for long enough.
Got the word of God here for you. Come on. Look at my fucking horns. Lad.
You look at these. Are you looking at my horns? Are you looking at my fucking horns? Are you?
I don't think I can do Scouts and not be aggressive.
Yeah,
I
was thinking going Ray. I haven't gone Ray for a while, but you say anything in a Ray Winston voice and it sounds like a threat. It's like, have you let the lie of Solas into your life?
No one said you were good at being a cleric.
Maybe you want to think about that. Maybe reconsider your life choices.
I kind of love it though.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah, all right, fine. We'll go with that. Yeah, so I'm going to be helping with the peat shipment because I could do a bit of mending, and those wagons, they're not good for shit, basically.
So Reynard might know Evelius. Yes, the guy's been dealing with conning rich people to buy art. I wouldn't have been conning Evelius, obviously.
No, but he'll have connections that you can use.
He'll have connections. Yeah.
As I said, you guys are, local-ish celebrities, so you would probably know each other through passing. Perhaps you've, swung by the library and seen the half-orc librarian, or, you've heard about the pouting noble, or the cleric who every line that comes out of them is
What?
weirdly hostile, but not as well. Strangely.
Go in peace.
Yeah. I'll reset that one. I can't do it. Okay, I tried to do it. You're not going to get many voices from me. I'm quite bad at them. Okay. So we shall begin in the winter's market of Aver. The snow has not yet fallen, which is a blessing because many traders are still plying many of their trades in the quite congested town. The people are feverishly trying to buy gifts for a variety of holidays. It's kind of the beauty of having a whole smattering of beliefs and faiths practice. So really is you get lots of holidays. So people are buying lots of gifts. This is also a good time for traders who want to. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Lots of children and babies around, so it's okay. There are and lots of trading. Say even a peat trader want to make kind of the big end of year bonus that they would make for plying their trade.
Get your lovely peat here. Get it while it's wet.
And we'll actually start with Reynard. So, Reynard, I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you've probably come into town. You know, there's always people wanting to buy something fancy, nice, maybe a noble or two. Might be eyeing some obviously fabricated painting, but you know, there's plenty of marks for you to go around. Actually, you know what? I think we will. Could you roll me a perception check?
I thought I had all the dice except the d20 then, but I do have one. There we go.
That's okay.
Just checking my score. So I rolled 11. My perception is +0, so 11.
That's okay. It doesn't take much to. I was just making sure you didn't get like 5 or something. So your oh shit is that the fuzz senses kind of go off, and you notice that amongst the crowd are the peaked hats of the dregs. Now, I'm not going to make you roll a history check because everyone knows what dregs are. During the revolution, lots of nobles forked over a very small degree of their fortune to make sure that their nice stuff didn't get wrecked up. And they created dregs, which are pretty much just hired thugs with a nice-ish uniform. What's strange, though, and why your kind of fuzz senses are going off, is because Druce doesn't have dregs. Most of the nobles don't have anything to worry about. The revolution never really touched here. So seeing these clad in kind of grimy black, let's say petticoats, that's probably fancier than what they have. Raincoats, that's it. So kind of like these big, kind of thick leathery outfits with a kind of tri-horn hat. Again, very grimy, not very nice. The two of them are quite statuesque figures, quite big and broad. You know that they're also not the nicest. They're called dregs because they are, in the eyes of the nobles, some of the worst of the worst. Criminals, not like yourself, those that were eager to hurt others in the names of being paid. What you notice is the crowd is giving them a wide berth. People are, moving their kids out the way. Elderly people are trying to get out of these guys' way. They don't seem too interested, however, in, anything in particular. You notice that they're kind of walking like one in front of the other. The one in front is kind of scanning the crowds, but in a kind of lazy, I'm doing this, I don't really want to kind of way.
Does it look like it's more from a security sort of scanning, like just checking there's no trouble, as opposed to they're actively looking for someone?
Or
just like they're doing a bad job?
Bad job. It definitely reads more like we don't want to be here. I'm not interested. But it doesn't look like they're protecting anything. It just looks like they're looking. But again, as you said, summed up very well in a kind of lazyish manner. Which Ignatius, this is about time where as you are selling your peats and plying your
Lovely
trades.
Pete. Lovely
Exactly.
Pete.
I will say that. Actually, okay, this is just perception check, but could you make me a perception check now?
Oh,
'Cause I'm
yeah,
interested.
I would love
Yes.
to. Oh, I have proficiency in that.
Oh, excellent.
That'd be a hot 22.
Oh my word! Well, then yes, you see and hear lots of things. So, interestingly enough, it's not what you hear; it's the lack of something. So, as you've been bellowing your trade of peat and kind of generally, asking old ladies to buy it for their, for their homes.
Cycle of life. Cycle of
Exactly.
life. Get the cycle of life here.
You notice that the stall next to you goes dead quiet, which is strange because actually it's kind of a bit annoying. There's been these two halflings who have just been they've been almost having a conversation with you who's the loudest. They are kind of a miscellaneous traders. They have like a small little wheelbarrow-esque caravan, which they have been they've just literally pushed up right next to your organized stall in the morning, and I've just been going, "Do you want pots? We can give you pots. Oh, do you want these? Do you want this tobacco? We have tobacco. Do you want this painting? Yes, a beautiful painting." And they've just kind of been selling innumerable wares with that amazing perception. I'll say that for most of the day you've been seeing them, they are twins, presumably a brother and sister. They're identical. Well, they're fraternal twins, so they look very similar, but they're very similar faces. And yeah, very boisterous, very kind of excitable. They've been doing all right business, but as just for some reason, stone silent. And as you look over to see why, you notice they are very hurriedly packing up the small caravan, as if their life depends on it. And with that astounding roll, you also see the two dregs that Reynard had also seen, although they are a bit further up on the street. But as I said, you can see them. They're not making themselves very subtle.
So what you do?
Sorry, was that directed to me? Sorry.
Yeah, what's up with you two? Why are you gone all quiet?
You see the brother approach. Quiet? What? Yeah. Quiet. I mean, you've seen this. No one's buying our tap. We're just gonna head on out. Isn't that right, sis? And she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Packing quickly, tying and fastening things as best they can. Yes, well, you know how it is with yeah. And he's quite clearly trying to politely, but also in a kind of "we need to go and I don't want to talk to you" kind of way. And
Teachings of Solus tell us that by remaining calm, we can act faster.
yeah, but at this point he's turned around, he's fastening new things, like, "Oh yeah, that Jolis, yeah, amazing work. I love their music." Yeah, just kind of zoning you out, just desperately trying to pack things up.
Is there a problem with the fellas in the hats?
What? Bells and hats? What?
They're over there.
We didn't. We're gonna go. And at this point now, they're kind of trying to push it. It's not difficult, but you can tell that, you know,
Do you want a
in their
hand?
hurried state.
Would you like a hand?
Yes, please.
I am a
If
lot
that's okay.
bigger and stronger than you are.
Yes, please.
Solus would want me to help you.
Yes, yes. And you can kind of see now that the sister is wringing her wrist, and the brother is kind of sweating.
I will pick
profusely.
up the wheelbarrow.
Oh my word! Okay, excellent. I'm not going to give you a strength check. It's not. It wasn't that laden down. This was more of here's the tat they were selling rather than their whole livelihood here. Okay, so at this point, we shall come to the name that I struggle to say, which is all of them, a certain pouty noble who
Evelius.
exactly Evelius. Evelius, you have kind of been, wandering about, wanting people to notice how important and significant you are. As yet, no one has recognized your true glory, but it's. I don't know. Would you find a marketplace such as this interesting, or would you?
I think I'm passing through with a bundle of letters, all of which end with, "Oh, and don't forget to ask the government about my pardon." The various people I know.
Okay. Yes. So I'm not gonna have you make a perception check, and this is because what you notice fairly closest to you is a very kind of big tiefling hefting a wheelbarrow with two very nervous halflings that you would presumably have some notion to. The tiefling, I mean, which is of course Ignatius. But yes, and I will say at this point, because without putting a finer point on it, you notice there are two individuals moving at a slight pace to dregs. They're kind of not running, but even you can tell that they're now kind of determined. They're moving in a straight line towards you, obviously. I mean, why else would they be coming?
Is it obvious? Well, does it look like they're coming towards me, or does it look like?
Sorry, that was a joke I was making. For Ignatius at this point, Ignatius is moving. I don't imagine particularly quickly because you're carrying the wheelbarrow when the two halflings are. I don't know. You can be jogging if you want.
Not carrying the two halflings.
No, I wouldn't imagine. So yeah, you're probably not moving at that quick a pace. I would say at this point the pair of you are intersecting. So you potentially could misinterpret their forward momentum to be at you rather than the wheelbarrow. It depends. How big is your ego?
I think I'm gonna approach them anyway. Be like,
roll for ego.
Thanks. Okay. That's an uncommon sight in Druce. I don't think Evelios, being not of the let's save our stuff by hiring bands of criminals kind of nobility, probably not that inclined to assist them in any way.
No, I wouldn't assume so. At this point, we will be getting to our favorite half-orc wizard. I was just going to ask quickly though, Reynard, how are you reacting to this? I will say, again, nobody's really trying to be stealthy, so an 11 perception is not that's good enough. As I said, I was rolling the perceptions just in case anyone crit failed or got a 5 or something. You are seeing kind of this whole sequence of events happen. There's one more sequence that's about to, but are you following them, or are you just holding back and not getting involved?
Following in case there's an opportunity.
Very good.
Either mischief or money. Both the things.
Like there's going to be.
So, caught in between this entire interchange of people, I'm gonna fuck this up. Avril. I'm so sorry.
Very close.
Yeah, Avril. What? Oh,
I'll turn it up. Wait. I can change that.
Awesome.
Sorry, we're just going to use my mic for both of us.
That's no bother.
Okay. Now I need to turn my noise gate down. Try it now.
No.
No.
No. Not a thing.
Oh well, never mind then.
It's okay. We'll work around it. It's all right.
So, Avril, as usual, has his head in a book.
Yep.
So he just sort of blindly stumbles through the market, not paying attention to anything. Until I think he actually bumps against Ignatius. And he's like, oh, ever so sorry.
Hang on. Nearly had me wheelbarrow.
Just like okay, sorry. Ignatius, about 2 people have bumped into you before you could get to the tracks. Or not
I'm going
Ignatius.
towards them. I'm going away from the dregs.
No, sorry, not Ignatius. Ivelios.
Evangelon.
Yeah, Ivelios, you've just been bumped into by Avro, and I think Ignatius, you've kind of gotten caught also in this people inter car jam, but you're not cars, you're people jam. There we go.
No, I just bumped against Ignatius.
Oh, my
Velius was like, I don't know.
Oh,
welcome,
sorry.
new friend. What's the book you're reading?
Oh, it's very good. It's called Minor Incantations for Half-Orcs.
Well, that seems very fitting. What with you being a half-orc and all.
Thank you. Yes,
I've got a couple of halflings here. Do you have any books for them?
Sure, but they look a bit anxious. Are you sure we should be discussing books here?
I think there is always time to discuss learning. Solas would want us to improve our minds as well as our bodies.
Books are great and all, but can we get them going, please? Like right now, quickly, please. And they're
We will
tugging at your
focus on our
robes and-
physical health rather than our mental then. And I will start jogging through the crowd with the wheelbarrow.
Is at this point that you're now in front of the dregs in hell. In the fancy one, the fancy part, Ivalian, yes. So you have now the dregs, however, I'm so sorry. Names
Fancy boy.
I'm very bad.
Just
Fancy boy.
That's it now.
However, the dregs. Oh, sorry.
I'm going to stand in front of them and look at both of them and go, "Are you the pardoners?"
One of them, well, the first one, literally hand on shoulder, moves past you, but I imagine you're kind of, but you're kind of in the way of the second one. It's like, what? Who?
The pardoners for the government. The pardoners.
Oh, I don't know what's going on here, mate. Look, I'm working. All right, I need you to just. He's trying to like. Are you gonna let him? Because he's literally just gonna like move out of my way.
No.
Or are you gonna resist it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's not gonna manhandle you just yet. You've not annoyed him enough yet. He's feeling like, look, I don't. We work for one of the nobles. All right, this is official noble business. So can you just
which
move?
One?
All right.
Anyone? One I know? Or...
I can't be divulging secrets like that just willy nilly. All right, we've got to just come on, just out my way.
We're probably friends. I'm Ivelios de Roche. Surely you'll hear about the pardon. Are you very sure it's not me you're looking for?
I will say that I imagine
you're still holding my bundle of
yes. You're confounding him enough at this point. However, so Ignatius, you've started jogging. Yes, like you're okay.
Well, keep up. 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember to breathe in, out. Come on.
I'm going to say that the halflings are trying their best, but you do get the impression that the pair of them are very much merchants first and joggers second. So they're not really. They're trying their best, but they're not.
This is why Solar teaches that we must focus on the physical as well as the mental and the spiritual health.
At this point, however, Reynard, you see that the what? So this guy's stopped one of them, but the one that pushed past him is now actually like picking up pace. He's chasing them, and Avril, yes, thank you. Is at this point that now a dreg, one of these guys with the goods, is now in front of you because you've obviously kind of just had that interchange with Ignatius, and now he's trying to kind of do that awkward. I'm trying to get past you, but you're in my way. And I'm like, can you just move, please? I'm trying to get past.
And I'm like, excuse me, I will have you note that gentleman is a scholar. No business chasing scholars.
And you can kind of see, and I will say both of you who are talking to them, you now kind of see that they're starting to get a bit, well, I mean, you can all see this, they're getting quite frustrated now, and they're kind of starting to begin to lose their temper. I will say they do the kind of put their hands on their clubs, but you also see them kind of that metal thing like, no, boss, not to do that. So for the time being, you are successfully kind of distracting them because they're just like, look, get out of the way, please, I can't. Suspect question: how long are you going to keep these guys occupied, or are you just gonna? At some point, are you going to both give up because they're both like.
Thus far, I haven't had a suitable answer. So,
I will say there is a certain point where you can kind of tell that he really is getting frustrated with you, but he gives you no satisfactory answer. He's like, "Oh, look, I work for a noble. I'm trying to get somebody that you are impeding my work. So can you just let me pass? All right."
What kind of somebody?
Oh, what's Reynard doing in all this? I'm kind of curious.
I think Reynard's getting closer because he's curious as to why he saw a cleric walking past with a wheelbarrow on his shoulder. I'm guessing Reynard didn't clock the two halflings
Jogging past.
jogging past, and is now very curious. He's bumped into a librarian. I think Reynard knows Avril because I'm sure I'd have gone to the library to research certain old masterworks of art or something when I was looking to forge bits and pieces. So I want to sidle closer to try and hear the conversation that's going on. So I'm going to be subtly behind the dregs.
Yeah.
Very
so. What I'll say is, while the conversation with the noble,
Evelios.
I will learn it eventually. While the conversation with Evelios is mostly just, I can't tell you what I'm doing. Can you please move? Conversation with Avril, that's the one you're kind of eavesdropping more on, isn't it? Reynard?
Yes.
The one with Avril, right. That's actually taking a slightly different tone. It's still like frustrated, oh my god, can you get my way? However, and you've met guys like these before, probably both of you. This guy's kind of doing the more like, well, I know so-and-so business. So when you are kind of like stopping him, he's like, look, you're impeding in the work of the noble Pentam, okay? And if you do this will he will drag your name through the mud, and he's kind of doing this big like show offy like I work for famous McFamous Pants. He doesn't say that part. That is
close enough though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's basically doing the do you know who who I work for card. Amber, how do you respond to this? He's just I work for.
I'm like, well, I haven't read any books about him, so how important can he be?
I will have you know that he was very instrumental in putting down evil revolts from farmers who didn't want to work anymore because they weren't getting paid. And
that's very interesting. Tell me more.
Well, you see, those layabouts were saying, "Oh, we don't have enough food to feed our families. Please stop taxing us." But the noble proudly said no, and we bashed them up. Yeah, and he's kind of awfully proud of that fact. Like he's kind of, you can actually see his chest puffing up a bit at that noting. I will say at this point, you notice as well that these men are not actually that old. I'm going to ask how old your characters are, but these guys are like basically just slightly just out of teens kind of lads, but very big, burly chaps. And definitely the first one, the one in front of you, Avril, is very much like more of definitely coming off as very childish in the way that he's just talking about how he battered some people. But yeah, he's kind of doing that. I will say at this point, Ignatius, you have safely managed to get the halflings away from the dregs. Like you'll have a quick look back, and these guys are just distracted. The halflings though are out of breath. They're like, wait for us.
Can
All right.
Sorry.
I'm going to put the wheelbarrow down. So we're now kind of at the edge of the market kind of thing?
Yeah. You've probably turned a corner kind of fashion, but you're still, not too far away. But you're safely away.
I'll
Sorry,
put the
that's it.
wheelbarrow down and I will turn to the two halflings and go, so, do you now see the importance of physical health?
Yeah, we really do. Thank you for your service. At this point, you see them both kind of starting to push it away, and they're definitely doing that. Let's just get out of here while the getting is good. But yeah, they're
It has been a pleasure to bring some light into your lives.
Yes, thank you. You're the light of our lives today.
Please
sir.
pay it forwards.
Oh yeah, we love all that. Solus.
We'll find
Yeah.
you.
Oh, and at this point, they're both like, go. Start to
And I will
push it
turn
away.
back and I will walk back to my peat merchant.
Mm-hmm. At this point, unfortunately, you're noticing that especially the dregs now getting quite vocal about how annoyed they are that they have been impeded and by the fact that, their quarry has escaped. The crowds are breaking up. People don't want to be near this. And at this point, Renard, you especially, you're kind of noticing that the safety of the crowd is dispersing further and further away as people don't want to get away with this. While dregs have not been in Druce, people have heard the rumors. And as I said, the guy in front is not disguising the very nasty things he's done to people. But yeah, both of them are kind of, mouthing off now. Basically, they're just mouthing off.
Can I tug on one of them's jackets, the one that's talking to Avril?
Yep, yeah, sure.
Oh, hey, mister.
What?
You two working for the Noble Pentab? Got a message for you.
Wait, what? We are?
You're urgently needed in a town hall. Fella just gave me 3 bits. He said, get the couple dregs looking for Noble Pentab. You'll spot them.
You're gonna have to roll description for that. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah. 18 plus 3.
Okay. So we'll say, that is amazing. Okay, excellent. So you picked the right guy because this is the guy that clearly, thinks the noble is all high and mighty and stuff. So he's like, right, okay, okay, Bernard, and he kind of waves at the one that is now looking more depressed. Like the first one was angry. This guy's just like, look, I don't know
at this
who
point,
you are.
I've also been explaining to him that I had a hand in writing the Declaration of Rights of Human Beings and the Citizen of Aris, and you can't accuse people or detain them without any reason written under law, which you have to produce first.
Yeah, this guy's now doing like that. Look, I don't know any of this stuff, man. Can I just go past? And it's at this point he's like, oh, what is it? Jeremy, what? And this guy kind of comes up like, we can't go to town hall. Why? Because we've been called. Oh, really? Yeah, and they look very pissed off. And I will say that the one that was talking to Avril does actually kind of shoot a bit of daggers at the group of you. Unfortunately, Ignatius, when you return to your stall, it is quite not the stall, like the surrounding people are quite empty. These guys have been poison to the market, and most people have kind of pretty much evaporated away. And pretty much, yeah, it's just the 4 of you with maybe a couple of stragglers kind of milling about in the market. You see some traders very pissed off, like they are quite grumpily folding stuff away because this is, a best day to sell stuff, and people have just kind of been.
I reckon they'll be back soon because the town.
Well, that looks like lunchtime then.
I'm still shuffling my letters.
I'm curious, where are you sending those letters to?
Just generally everyone I know in the capital or thereabouts, and each one ends with, and don't forget to ask them how far my pardon stands at the moment. Has there been mention of my pardon? Are they working on my pardon now?
Yeah. Basically just go around annoying people.
Annoying people until I get called back.
Okay,
Then further away.
It is at this point, I think it would be kind of interesting. And it's to those who want to. If anyone wants to roll a history check to kind of know who Pentam is and maybe why he sent some goons out after much shares. If you don't want to, that's fine. Ignatius, there is a lovely tavern
I don't
called
think I picked that bit up.
No, of course, yes. You kind of.
I will be helping the traders pack up their stuff and talk about their disgruntlement and about how they can turn that into a positive energy rather than a negative energy, because that will just sap their life.
Of course, yeah. Some of them are receptive. Most of them, they know you well enough, and they don't disagree, but they're also kind of like, yeah, but like, I'm out on like 40 copper today, Ignatius. Like, I can be as positive as I want, but like positivity doesn't make the money appear.
What can I do? You want me to get the market back?
I mean, if you could find out why those guys were doing that, I mean that stuff doesn't happen in Bruce. It's a peaceful place. What are those headbangers doing here? You know, just
dregs.
Yeah, the dregs. Like what the fuck's going on there? You know, like just sending a bunch of hooligans. That's what they were. I will say, while the traders are not super wealthy, they are a little bit more rich than most of the other people here. So you do get that kind of faint, like, this is a peaceful village. We have no trouble here. So yeah, there's a little bit of, you do get that hint of it.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. But it feels more like they're upset that their business was disturbed rather than the actions that these.
So, if I can find out what they were doing here, you think the market will come back and that will make your life path easier?
Yeah, it'd make it so much easier. And at this point, I imagine you're quite a prominent figure, both in a kind of physical sense, but also in a social sense.
I'm also
there's a
loud.
couple. Yeah, oh, definitely. So there are a couple of other traders who have kind of approached you guys and you and are saying, yeah, if you get that started, that'd be great, Ignatius. There is a faint like, yeah, you do that, buddy, because I don't have to worry about it now, kind of air, but yeah, it's very nice.
I'm going to turn on the taumaturgy then. And make my voice very loud.
Okay. If we just take, I was going to say, I would like to know what they got for their street checks, but I'll let you finish the taumaturgy.
Well, they will tie together nicely because I will be going, Book Orc, Fancy Boy. You were talking to them in hats.
Yeah.
I think we need a conflab. And this is at taumaturgy levels of volume.
Oh yeah.
Across the market.
If there were any like stragglers kind of see if they can get a deal, they're now gone like,
boom.
Oh my good ear.
Evelios is just glad someone wants to talk to him.
So who rolled like histories and things like that?
I got an 11.
I got 11.
I got a 12.
A 12. Okay. So not great rolls, but Pentam is not a super elusive figure. Oh, okay.
Your mic's on. Yeah, it's perception. Not perception.
No, I know.
History.
I imagine as a wizard you'll be quite.
If you look on it, it should say what modifiers you got on your character.
Yeah, I have a +5 history modifier.
Yeah, so it's your roll +5.
Yeah.
Oh no!
That's okay.
So, should I try?
Yeah, if you want, it's up to you. Yeah, you are very good at history with a +5, so might be good.
18.
18. Excellent. Okay, so I'll do Reynard and Evelios. Nearly. Evelios.
It's essentially the name Eve, but I added Leo in the middle to make it sound more elvish.
Evelio. Okay. So, because you guys got similar roles, this is kind of the answer you both come to. So, what you know about Pentam is most of what that most people would know, in the sense that not a nice guy. When the revolution came about, he was one of those staunch monarchists. This whole democracy bullshit is, well, bullshit. Bring the king and the queen back, and da da da. He slightly changed his tune when he found out that in times of upheaval, protect people's rights was out the window, and when the dregs became an option, he was not subtle with them. The one detail, because you didn't get above 10, that you do know is he is from like the capital. So it's very strange to be sending guys all the way down here. Avro, you got a much better role. So something that you know about Pentam, or rather his family lineage, is that they were once very successful traders. However, Pentam's grandfather was very shit and lost pretty much most of the family fortune on some very dodgy, like, proper, oh yes, if you fund this expedition to this island that totally exists, wink, then we'll make sure all the gold we find comes back to you, kind of things. How they've kind of stayed as nobles is pretty much by kissing up to the monarchs. Pentam's father was a huge, kiss up. And you know this because what money they did have left went into funding magical books, like funding the study of magic, which the monarchs were very big fans of. And as the Republic still has magic, admittedly, though they're more interested in it as military applications. Suffice to say, even though you don't know what books this Pentam has written, you are fairly sure that whatever business his employees would have, they're definitely not nice people. And they're also probably not very stable people either, considering that what his family lineage has gone through as well. But yes, for all of you, you've just heard Ignatius's loud proclamation. I seek your aid!
Forces of good, assemble!
Oh, I'll definitely come to that.
Yeah.
Renard's nosy, so I'm just going to saunter over with them.
Well, I feel like you would, like, Ignatius probably would have also seen Reynard doing the whole, like, hey,
I'm not sure Ignatius has noticed Renard yet.
Oh, all right. Okay, sorry, my apologies.
I think he was a bit busy jogging with his wheelbarrow at that point.
Totally. Yep, that's no problem.
He did see a fancy boy talking to one of them, and he had already bumped into the book orc. So
yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. My apologies. Okay, yeah, sorry.
I'm just going to stand there heroically, hands on hips, until everyone congregates.
Tell me what you know.
Why were they Yeah. Why were they after your wheelbarrow?
It was not my wheelbarrow, young gnome.
So you stole the wheelbarrow?
I was helping the two halflings remove themselves from the market as they were much agitated and their life path was very confused and stressed.
Right.
Seems fair.
It's my mission upon this earth to make things simpler. However,
you reckon they're all right now?
They have left the first aerial stress, and they are back on their life path. That is all I can help with.
Do you know why they were after him?
Those in the hats. Well, I believe some of you have had conversation with them, and maybe you know better. Let us pool our knowledge. as it has been written, that by knowing a thing, one may better prepare for it.
Could have been written more succinctly, I feel. But yeah.
Seems about. I assume that was written in pre-revolutionary times. Seems like the writing of the time.
Yeah. They liked flowery text.
What was it, Montague who wrote that? Because that sounded a bit Montague.
Oh no, if it had been Montague, it would have been, forsooth, if one can say one thing with what one word, then there are many words that can bring forth that one word that says the thing that one wanted to say.
Yes, he did love stalling for time and confusing people, which, that was his political strategy.
Mostly himself.
If they're thinking about what I just said, they won't be worrying about having to get rid of me, and that's the goal.
I can't follow what I just said, then neither can anyone else.
Pretty much, yeah.
They can't argue what they don't understand.
Yep, and that's why Aris is not doing super great at the moment.
Anyway,
no, fancy
neither
boy.
of them had any form of written lawful writ to arrest anyway.
What was their intent here in the market?
Trouble, I reckon. They said they were working for Pentam. He's a right noble.
I resent that, but he is indeed a right noble.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
there's nobles and there's nobles.
This Pentam is the source of the
noble.
disruption. The trade must flow, and it has been abated by the appearance of these two dodgy hats.
Yeah, they don't have into upset days when they turn up. They're probably going to be back. I don't fancy hanging around here too long, to be honest.
Where did they go?
Town hall.
Is that where Pentam is?
That's right. I told them they had a message waiting. That's why they went. What they actually find there, I don't know.
Post office.
For context, Pentam would be very surprising, especially Fancy Boy. Sorry, I should remove that nickname. But basically, no, he lives in the capital of Aris. It would be very shocking for him to come down to the sticks this far out. However, your lie worked because presumably there would be some kind of courier or some kind of, means of communication. Yeah, exactly. I will say, on the note of you saying they'll come back, it would not be like, I'm not gonna make you roll for this. He probably would have sent more than 2 guys, but this is kind of news to you, so they must be relatively new in town. But that's I always like to have players have common sense, and it would not be unbelievable that a super rich guy, says super rich guy, would hire more than 2 people to do his bidding. He'd hire 3. No. But, so what's your kind of plan at the moment? Sorry.
Well, my dilemma is this, you see. The life path of the traders in this here market has been disrupted by these bad hats. And the audience and the marketeers will not return until they have been, well, dealt with.
Then we should
Tangle must be untied.
Have a word with them.
So, shall we hie thee to the town hall and discuss such matters with them?
Now that was definitely Montague.
I feel like Max just read a lot of very old books.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Bestie!
You do like a book high five. Hey!
Ah, book orc.
Do you were
Investigation is afoot.
talking to them as well? Do you did you hear anything?
Oh, to be honest, he started talking about Pentum, and then I just let him blather on a bit. I mean, it wasn't anything I hadn't read in about 300 books in the library. And I have to tell you, he got quite a few details wrong, even.
Yeah, definitely with descriptions of how like the Pentams have these flowing blonde, hair and the rippling muscles, and the historical texts are not very kind to their ancestors. Often more like grungier, a lot less kind. Yeah, he definitely was fanboying a little bit there near the end. Yes.
So I suppose we should go have a word with some dregs about some halflings.
And show them the error of their ways.
Or just talk to them.
That's what I meant. What do you think I meant?
It's just when you say
Hands
things.
are kind of gripping.
But when you say things, they sound a lot more violent than when other people say things.
I just imagine doing this hand gesture, like as well, just constantly through the entire conversation.
It is the power and the voice of Solas that speaks through me. If that troubles your small soul, then maybe you need more exercise.
Ignatius at like a restaurant. So, what would you like to eat? I'd like the spaghetti bolognese, please.
What would you recommend? I'd like a word with the chef.
No, I'd like
I can't get any sound from
the mash.
Hello.
No, I just can't think of the word.
If I'm reading the group correctly, and please correct me, are you wanting to head over to the town hall to perhaps confront the dregs? Yes? Or
We need to discuss their life choices with them.
Talk
Of
with
course,
them, yeah.
I'm going to be hiding kind of behind the others, though.
Understand their motivations and see if we can set them on a brighter path. Which might involve setting them on fire.
That is a very distinct possibility.
Yeah.
So as you make your way through the now kind of dispersing marketplace, the town hall isn't very far away. Even for the largest settlement here, it's probably only got like a couple thousand people living here, which sounds like a lot until you actually look at it from a kind of bigger sense. So it only takes you about at most 5 minutes to navigate the open streets to get to the town hall, and you are blessed with the lovely sight of more dregs. Not too many, about maybe 5 or 6. None of them look like the guys that you harassed with your with your awkward like stopping in the street shenanigans. These lot are mostly kind of milling about, kind of loitering in a not very pleasant manner. There's not a lot of people coming in and out of the town hall, but the few that are do look a little bit uncomfortable with their presence. You notice as well that they have some horses lined up, and these are actually a lot nicer than their uniforms. These are all beautiful kind of black steeds, very befitting their uniforms. However, as I said, they look far more well kept than their riders. They're not really doing much. You actually notice a couple of them have like gotten like are kind of messing with some dice on the street, but they're definitely there as a presence. I will say for confirmation, it's about 6. So there's 6 of them kind of just milling about, kind of there. They notice you, but in a kind of, oh, there's some more people coming past way. They don't really react significantly.
Hmm.
Checking spells.
Yeah, mostly
What
looking
was
at
that
my
horse?
stats.
Oh, loads of them.
Yeah,
It's always good. It's always good when you
Wait.
can make antagonists quite clear, like signpost them
Only-
and everything.
We're only gonna have a polite word with them anyway.
Fancy boy, do you want to handle this one, or shall I let the light of Solas into their lives?
Should we at least talk to them first?
That's what I meant.
I mean, yeah. Persuade them to
That's because it says light of Solas on the side of my mace. Doesn't mean just hitting them in the head is what I had in mind.
the problem is every time you say that I just imagine things being immolated. I don't know why.
See, the thing you need to understand about Hellish Rebuke is that someone needs to hit me first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll say hello to the horses and then walk up to the people.
Before he goes, I'm just going to put a hand on his shoulder and just cast guidance on him. May Solas go with you as you guide them towards the light. You got an extra D4 on any ability check.
It's always the best thing about D&D when you give like your really like lovely description. Then you have to go. It's a D8 or it's
It's
You've got
just a
plus-
D4. It's just a D4.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
and you talking like your normal everyday voice. Like it's it gives you advantage.
Bardic inspiration's the worst. I play an amazing tune upon my mandolin. Its very strings are made from the hairs of griffins. Yeah, that's an extra D4 for everyone.
Oh, yeah, thanks. So the person that you approach is perhaps you can say
I'm gonna stand in front of all of them because I just assume everyone will listen to me because I'm there.
Okay, well, most of them choose to ignore you. One who is a bit more well kept than the rest of them. The rest of them kind of look like they're not too fussed about how their uniforms turn out. It seems less like they're dirty or like muddy and more that the uniform has just not been looked after. Potentially even has gone through several like users, like some areas are afraid. The person in front of you though is actually like, it looks like how the uniform should be, fairly well kept. Turns to you. Now he is a little bit older than the other ones, perhaps the ringleader, so to speak. A noticeable thing about him is that he is smoking a pipe, which that is a bit strange because pipes are they're for quite well-to-do folk. So to see someone like this just kind of, but yeah, he kind of it's not a very big one, just like a kind of But it turns to you and goes, "Yes, and who are you?"
Well, I presume you know me as Ivelios de Roche. However, I don't know who you are, or why you have all gathered here in this fine town in such a disarrayed, mob-like fashion.
Well, it's not really my problem. I don't know you. And he does that kind of like looks at the others and they kind of do a kind of grumble like, he's like, well, you see, our business is our business. And I don't really give a toss. If you care, that's we're here. So why don't you go in the building and we won't fuck you up?
I'm gonna
And he just
look at the
smile when he says
horses
that.
and go, do you think he can just talk to me like that?
You talk to animals. Is that something
They can understand me and I can influence them.
Okay. Well, you notice that the horses they equally seem quite dissatisfied. These are quite well trained horses. So they kind of do the kind of okay, right. Perhaps a couple of them are a little bit like, how dare he can say whatever he likes. He's the tops, yeah. but that's kind of they're not your friends. They're definitely their horses. If that kind of the swishing of the tail, maybe a slight hoof stomp.
I'm still gonna turn to them and go, I fought with some very valiant horses on the barricades in Aris, and they wouldn't have stood for such things.
I really have you just completely turned away from the people are now.
I'm just talking to the horses now.
Just talk to the horse. I'm loving it.
He's the guy you were trying to, his mouth's kind of like, right, okay, and he's now turning away from you, kind of doing that like, right, pipe back in. But now thinking that you're not just pompous, but maybe not all.
Yeah.
What are the rest of you just watch?
I'm kind of doing some stretches.
I would imagine maybe one or two, maybe cast a glance to you, Ignatius, because you're quite prominent. But again, they're not really reacting in any way to it. Just kind of, hanging about.
I'm going to kind of look at the book orc and go, so, if this gets messy, where is it best for you to be? And also, Mr. Gnome, I'm never sure with gnomes. I don't want to offend. How are you in a ruck?
Oh, I'm just want to be so cocky. I'd be like, yeah, I've won my fair share of fights. All of them.
Would you like me to hurl you into the fray, or do you want to duck and dive your own way in?
I can make my own way in if it comes to that. Thank you very much.
Jolly good.
It's just eyes wider and wider, like.
At this point, I'm gonna look back at the group.
Warming up, doing a stretch. Oh, it's very important to stretch.
Would this be the time to mention that I don't like fighting?
Well, neither do I.
I mean, I've got some spells and such, and obviously I'm used to war and all that from, my childhood with my orc dad, but don't make me punch someone.
No, we will not make you do anything you do not wish to do. Your life path is yours, and you should be honored to tread upon it.
Can I try and talk to him, maybe?
Please do so. Conversation is the lifeblood of any community.
And I sort of walk up to him, with faux confidence that they can tell immediately. Completely faked, of course.
I think you might be testing the intelligence of some of these guys. Maybe the ringleader. Maybe. Yeah. So the man with the pipe will turn to you now, like having just turned away.
And I'm
Belio.
like, hello, friends.
Hello.
Would you perhaps terribly mind pissing off?
I suppose. and he's now looking to his comrades, going, "What is it with these bumpkins?" Thinking, marvelous. Just telling us to piss off. Hey, we are here to do business, and that's what we do. Yes, and
Yeah, it's just the market's gone, and I really wanted to get some books, and being here is making that hard. So, I mean, you don't have to stay gone, but like maybe stay gone for a longer time. Or maybe like come back in 2s or 3s or on holiday.
And you can really kind of see like he's kind of hamming it up a little bit to the guys around, like, yeah, Can you believe this? The pair of them. But he does look a little bit flustered because now this is two people come up to him and are kind of getting in his face. It is at this point that the town hall doors will open and the two figures that you met previously will come out, looking a little bit sheepish and deflated. Yeah, Reynard's like,
Quick, hide behind the tiefling.
and it's as and they have to go past the pair of you and the boisterous one, the one that was kind of, as I said, fanboying a little bit for Pentam, comes and goes, yeah, no, there's some. There wasn't a letter, was there? It just was so convincing, and he's like, we've wasted good time, and you can almost see he's about to continue, but he kind of remembers there's two witnesses right next to him. As he's like, do you mind? We're having a business conversation here.
I mean, yeah, we don't mind at all. Please continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We mind you being here, so you need to fuck off.
Well, I believe it was established in the Declaration of the rights of the human beings and citizens of Aris that we can stand where we please, as long as it negatively harm us.
Also, please remember the past conversation where it was also established that you need to fuck off.
And
So
that.
just saying.
And again, similar to the two lads that have just come out, again, because we're all people, we've all met people doing this. There's a very much a kind of malice going on there. You can see like that these guys really want to let it loose. You can also see that they're kind of holding back, like, well, lads, I think it's safe to say that, you know, these morons here are just not going to be. We should do the honourable thing. And he kind of gives a mock bow and leave, and the rest of them kind of like, all right, and kind of all get up, and they start to kind of move away in dribs and drabs. And I'll get everybody. Do you want to make perception checks? Just if you can maybe catch a little bit of the conversation just as they leave.
Can I also try and charm their horses into just being pains in the backside?
If I'll say for fairness' sake, if you are going to do that, you won't be able to make the perception check because you're kind of trying to focus. I will also say what is the components of this charm, because if it's like speaking and waving hands, then they're probably going to notice you doing that.
I can just talk to the horses.
And okay.
I get advantage on charisma checks to influence them.
Yeah. Give me a persuasion check then, and the rest of you, if you can make perception checks.
I got a 7 on my perception. I am just hiding at the back to avoid the two that was.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a bit too. Yeah, I mean, as you said, yeah.
I got an 11.
Okay.
Oh, hello, I was on mute.
And,
that's okay.
I think I was just sort of actually surprised that my attempt to be assertive worked. So I'm like, thank you, Jack.
You're too busy turning around going, it worked! Brilliant! Yes, I got 19. And Lewis, don't forget, you've got a plus D4.
Okay.
Should I don't really need it. I might save it for...
Well, don't save it for too long. I'm having to concentrate.
Yeah. Oh, okay then. I'll throw it in there. In that case...
it's a cantrip. You can have as many as you like.
I turn to the horses and say, don't let them give you any shit. I mean, you're valid creatures. Don't let them walk all over you, or ride in this case. And I rolled I got a 3 on the D4, but I rolled a 5, but I had advantage, so also rolled a non-natural 20.
Oh wow! Okay,
You.
is that with the 4 as well? Like
No.
total? No. Oh wow.
So-
Okay. Well then. So the horses, we'll get the perception thing done first because this is the conversation I had before they got on the horses, and then we'll do the horses. So, unfortunately, after all, you don't catch much. You kind of catch like an occasional word here or there. However, Ignatius, doing your kind of just stretching and mace handling, do
Swinging
pick
it
up
out.
rather clearly what the kind of the ringleader is saying to the two sheepish-looking fellows that just came out of town hall. And he's kind of, and it mostly it just seems like he's dressing them down, giving them a hard time. However, there's a slight part of the conversation where he starts going, well, we need to find it, okay? Pentam needs that amulet. And if we don't get it, it's going to be our heads on the table next, all right? We need to find those goddamn halflings. And it's at that point that they get on the horses. Now, the horses do actually, are quite receptive to what you've said. The non-natural 20 actually helps quite a lot. They are, you don't get the sense that they have been necessarily abused, but yeah, I mean, these are, you can't get the fact they kind of got a swagger in them. These are nice horses. They don't want to be here.
Precisely.
Give it to ride, all the
They
way
don't need
down.
to take this shit.
Exactly. So as they kind of ride off, you notice that they kind of put up a bit of they kind of pull their heads left and right. Some of them kind of don't go into a full like trot immediately. And again, they're not teenagers. These are young men, but they're perhaps not as skilled horsemen as somebody who is older. So you can kind of see them. They're not super happy that the animals are resisting them. They do make it off. The 8 of them. Yeah, yes, because I said there was 6 outside too. Yeah, 8.
Yeah.
The 8 of them make it off. That does not bode. If we ever have to do combat, I'm gonna be like, oh, did they? They make it off, but you notice that it's a little bit staggered. Maybe they were wanting a more majestic, like we ride off, but it's kind of a bit of a clusterfuck of like, okay, no, you move, get your horse out the way while I move. Oh, so yeah, that's where they
2.
2.
Farewell.
I wonder.
They do not
You got
like
to go. That's good.
Would it
Are
be
they
all right
leaving
if
town
we
then? Wrap it up.
wrap it up?
Wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't planning to go much further than this. I was just gonna set up
Yeah.
the MacGuffin. But yeah, I know. Just no smoke and mirrors. It's all straightforward here.
Great.
Okay.
They're definitely leaving town.
No, they're riding further into town. That's just what I was about to say.
Badly.
Yeah. Badly, very badly. But yeah, for context, the streets can accommodate a big group of horses like this because it's it's for horses and other animals moving through. But no, they've moved further in. Yeah, you can only assume with the information you have, Ignatius, that they are really wanting to find these halflings.
We should find the halflings first.
Yes. Good folk. I believe you all have good hearts and good intentions. Looking at Evelios.
I'll have
If
you
we
know,
are
I
to
commanded the
restore
barricades.
the balance to this town, we must find the little halflings before the dregs do. Are you with me?
Yeah, I've got nothing better to do today.
I mean, the bookstores are gone anyway, so
I believe
well
there were
tag
some
along.
books in that wheelbarrow they had.
Yeah.
Find them there.
So, I have your ambivalence and your obsession, fancy boy.
Is it all right if we stop by the post office on the way? Otherwise, my afternoon's pretty free.
Excellent. Solas has brought us together to work their excellent mission. Let us go forth in the light.
And we'll wrap up from there. So thank you for watching, listening, however you're experiencing this.
You're definitely
beginning of an
experiencing
adventure.
this.
Exactly.
Oh, it's an experience.
Exactly. Yeah, I hope everyone had fun. I had a lot of fun. I love playing with everyone here. And remember, because I know Lewis is going to be like virtually kicking me under the table, that if you subscribe to SoMuchGame, you can listen/watch this stuff all the time. And if you like and comment and all that stuff, that's super good. But there's no pressure to do any of those things. It's just, do whatever makes you feel happy. But
There's
if you
lots
do
of
that,
pressure. Definitely do those things.
Do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
There you go. You're
Okay, then.
told by Ignatius.
Well then, I hope everyone had a good time, and we shall all see you next time. So,
Yep.
bye-bye.
Bye.